Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and as you know, I love donuts, or if you don't know that, you're about to find out when I had a panic attack just a few minutes ago looking for my donuts. I'll put this down and actually answer your questions. You guys sent in some questions that you wanted the spirit guides to answer. Now, these questions are political in nature, and you sent in some doozies. So I'm going to connect with my spirit guides now, and they're going to answer these questions. Please understand, I am just the messenger. If I'm going to say something that you don't agree with, take it up with them because it's not me. Or also, some of you that read my community post may have heard me say that my dad is in spirit, and he's been in spirit for a few years, and he helps me quite often with various things here with you, with my clients as well. Some of my clients, some of you have read my dad, a lot of you have, in ways to kind of show you your own psychic abilities. But anyway, my dad and I shared this sort of penchant for political information. I'll never forget my dad taking me as soon as I was old enough to vote. He took me to the polls, drove me, like, don't drive. He needed to literally make sure that I went into the booth and I voted. And I'm telling you, this guy was so serious about voting and about politics. And of course, he's a Democrat. So, who knows? Alfred may jump in and answer some of these questions. So let's get started. So the first question I'm going to answer is from Dusty Rose, who is in herself an amazing psychic, truly a very creative and beautiful soul. So let's see. Dusty says, do the guides see any breaking news in the media for the USA coming this week or next week? And that's such a good question that actually we should ask every week, right? I mean, wouldn't it be interesting if each of us just asked, just tuned in? I mean, this is how you get started. You just tune in and start building that relationship with your own spirit guides. So as I'm asking the guides now, so timing is very wonky, crazy over there, or they say it's wonky, crazy over here. So I'm going to have to ask them, is there any breaking news in the media in the coming week? She says in the next 2 weeks, this week or next week. Today is the 20th of March. Well, yes. I mean, there's breaking news. This is a good way to understand. You have to ask questions in a specific way. But there's going to be lots of breaking news because they're saying all news is breaking. Smart asses. All news is breaking, right? News means something new that you didn't know before. So welcome to my world with my spirit guides. But I'm going to say that there's going to be something happening in the next 7 days in regards to Lukashenko, I just heard. He's the Belarusian, however you say that. They're calling him an appointee and a dictator because I don't think that he was democratically elected. So they're not wanting to call him. Spirit is not wanting to give him any credit. Okay, so they're showing me Lukashenko is a dog on a leash, and Putin has the leash. Putin jerks the leash of the dog ever so often. They're also showing me that's also Trump, right? So when these dogs wander over here, shiny thing, and they go over there, Putin's like, and he yanks them back very harshly. And so I think we're going to be seeing Belarus. I think we're going to be seeing some protest in Belarus. You're going to be seeing some, they're calling it sabotage. The citizens, not all the citizens, but some portion of the citizens sabotaging Belarus's participation in the war on Ukraine. So that's going to be breaking news. I want to be fast. There's so many questions. I told myself, Susan, you're going to have to do speed round. And I'm like, yeah, right. When the guides get a hold of me and they start talking, and if they have a lot to say, it's just like when I do mediumship. If I get Uncle Harry on the, bat phone, the mediumship bat phone, and Uncle Harry wants to talk, it's like, it's like they have the floor. And so same thing with the guides. So I saw her face. Who is that? That's the it's not I hate it when they show me pictures and then they don't talk to me, because I don't always know who they're talking about. It's Bobert. It's not Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the blonde, right? And Bobert is the brown-headed one, right? Is that right? The brown-headed one of the Dipsy Tripsy duo that are. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble on this video, I can already tell. So for entertainment purposes, okay, I'm on your side. USA, FBI, CIA, NSA, I'm one of you. So don't come after me. Okay, they're Russian conscripts. I'm just going to start using the words they're using. I know they're wrong. Don't tell me they're wrong. I'm just channeling this information. They're conscripts, right? They're being used. So what's up with her? What's up with Bobert, right? Bobert. Well, she's going to be in the news. I don't think it's going to be, she often is in the news, so I don't know that that's a news flash or anything, but I feel like, right. So it seems like somebody, there's division in the Republicans. Now that's a news I'll take. That's newsworthy news. There's division in the Republicans. There's going to be division. They're showing me cracking apart. Now, of course, we know that some Republicans, Mitt Romney, for one, is already, cracked. He's already saying, if you're supporting Putin and Russia, you're not an American, right? So, but I feel like there's going to be more cracks. They're saying that some of these cracks could be subtle. Okay, so the Republican Party, it's in their best interest to cover those cracks. So they're showing like plaster, right? So there's cracks under the plaster. Okay, the Republican Party is trying to hide that because they need everybody to think that they're unified, and they're not unified. Okay, and the cracks under the plaster, as we all know, are under. You might not know what plaster is, but in old houses, they use plaster as like drywall or like a substrate to cover up the ugly thing under it. What a great analogy they just used. So once the cracks get pretty bad, the plaster cracks too. That's their point, okay? So there's going to be a lot of news. There's tons of headlines. Putin, Lukashenko, Biden, that guy that I hate, hates is such a strong word, Susan. That guy that I dislike immensely, Rand Paul. There's going to be lots of news. I could do a whole video about that probably. I'm going to move on. Thank you, Dusty, for your question. You guys keep your eyes on the Republican Party. Read between the lines. Their guides are saying read between the lines. There's cracks there, and the Democrats, God bless every last one of them, could, do something about that. They could seize that, and we have to seize every opportunity. That also means us, right? We are the power. We're the gerbil on the little wheel behind the Democratic Party. When we write, when we call, when we complain, things get done. So this is getting to be a time where we really need to get busy, is what they're saying. Elise in the attic says, what will happen to Alexei Navalny? They now want to sentence him to an additional 13 years. I see, and I was lucky enough to be on with Dave Johnson on Jen's channel, Jen's World Tarot. And I see they asked me that question when I was on there, I saw Navalny being a little bit like Nelson Mandela in the sense that, this is a broad, in the sense that I feel like Navalny could bring Russia together. I see Navalny getting out of prison. I think he's much worse for the wearer. Okay, you see these guys that have been poisoned, 2 or 3 times by Russia or Putin or whoever, and they just look like hell, right? I mean, they just look like they've been poisoned, and it's been years since, but they still have the after effects. This is how I see Navalny. He's going to look like he's just been through the grinder, but he is going to get out, and I do think that he's going to be a prominent force in Russia. Now, you also have to understand, Navalny is no angel. He is no angel, but I think he's going to be a darn sight better than Putin. So I do see him getting out. I do see, I see this whole thing in Ukraine ending sooner rather than later, probably, definitely within the month. But I think it could be as soon as a week or two, to be honest with you. We have free will. It's going to depend on a lot of free will. It's going to depend on how the Ukrainians do. It's going to depend on how we get these items to Ukraine. And then I don't want to go off on tangents, but this is so important. And they told me to talk about this earlier and I forgot. Okay, sorry. So something that's really important is that Australia just announced that they're not going to be sending aluminum or aluminium. How do you guys say it? How do you guys say it in Britain? Cash Peters is always saying it. He's always correcting it for United States pronunciation, and I can't. Anyways, I can't do it. So the important thing here, this is really important. Seriously, I hope you're still watching. This is important. Australia has decided not to send aluminum to Russia. Now, this is important because as countries make these decisions to not send products to Russia, they're losing money. Stockholders are losing money. Producers, workers, countries, everybody's losing money. So they're choosing to support Ukraine over money. And I think this is so important. And I think that if we continue to choose people's lives over money, we're going to ascend as Earth, as human beings on Earth. We're going to ascend that much faster. This is like the big lesson that we're all here to learn, is that human lives are worth more than money. They're worth more than profits. They're worth more than power. So as countries like Australia do this, we need to reward them. We need to write, if the United States also cut we stopped buying oil from Russia, and that, maybe it was like 8 or 9% of our import, but it was still 8 or 9%. And so we need to be very good about rewarding our leaders when they do the hard thing, when they decide to choose lives over money. We really, really need to jump up and down and congratulate them. I mean, make a big deal about it, because look, we know this is not typically the case. People typically choose, money over anything. So we really need to be good about rewarding these people, really and truly. Please write them, thank them, because they don't have to. They don't have to do that. So I'm just reading this. Yes. Okay. So Queen of Neverland says, when will Belarus get punished for their involvement in this war? All I have seen so far has been mostly directed towards Russia, as it should be. But I also want Belarus to be harshly punished. Well, this is what I think the guides just talked about a few minutes ago. I'm channeling this. I don't know what I just said, other than maybe the last minute. Yes, Belarus is going to get punished. I do see that. Right. So it turns out that American intel, the Biden administration, England, Britain, Canada, a lot of the NATO countries, and also other countries. I mean, you just can't say NATO because there's so many great countries that aren't NATO right now. So they all understand that Belarus is the dog on the leash. Yes, okay, so they did say that. And so, yes, Belarus is going to get punished. I think Belarus, right. So Lukashenko is being pulled by Putin, but his people are also pulling him. And he's in between a rock and a hard place. He doesn't have support in Belarus, they're telling me. He rules by fear. Wow, they're just telling me toppling. Some countries, the leadership is going to get toppled, but they also just showed me Afghanistan, the leadership being shaky. Oh, they're saying you know how we had the Arab Spring? Do you guys remember? And we had like all these protests. They're talking about that right now. They're talking about a protest, worldwide protest, the people. They keep saying the people, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones. So it's going to be on us to get out and protest. It's going to be on us to write our leaders. It all starts with us. It doesn't start with them. They don't have the power we do. So they're showing me this summer there's going to be many, many protests and a lot of unrest. Okay, now with protest comes unrest, which comes down, a lot of times lockdowns and violence. But the people want to speak. The energy has shifted. So I hope that answers your question, Queen of Neverland. Thank you for your question. Jasmine LP says, will the situation improve for the people of Myanmar? I can't say it when I'm connected to spirit, apparently. I don't have access to my vocabulary. Myanmar. Thank you. Myanmar. And will the international community get involved somehow? War crimes have been committed by the military service since the military coup. This is exactly what they were just talking about, right? So these countries that are ruling by this iron fist are going to find themselves with their fist being forced open, like the guides show me prying somebody's fingers open, an openness. The situation is not going to improve for Myanmar, for the people of Myanmar. Am I saying it right? Anyway, because it's just like Ukraine. The situation has to hit rock bottom, like Afghanistan. I don't know why they're talking about Afghanistan today. Anyway, the situation has to hit rock bottom, because when people have nothing left to lose, oftentimes that's when they rise up. That's when they rise up and they just don't take it anymore. So I expect that the situation to be, and all of a sudden they're talking about Saudi Arabia. There must be some stuff going down, y'all. God, that would not be good, Saudi Arabia. This thing with Ukraine is like going to create like a worldwide Arab Spring, a worldwide spring of democracy. It's going to destabilize the world, though. It's going to destabilize the world. I mean, but it's a fight for our lives. They're saying it's a fight for your sovereignty, for your lives. Who knew this was going to go this deep? I tried to do lightning round and I can't do it. Okay, I hope that made sense. Thank you for your question. Becca Lynn. Let's see what she says. She says she doesn't usually ask questions. Okay. Got it. Okay, so she wants to know, what will the mood of the country, the mood of the United States, I assume she's saying, be after Thanksgiving going towards Christmas of 2022? Let me go there. I'm going to go to Thanksgiving. I'm going to be seeing turkey and pumpkins everywhere and fall leaves and changing weather. Okay, I'm there. What in the world is that? The mood of the country. I got to bring myself back in the United States. Somehow I'm out in freaking never crazy land in the world. Come back to the United States. Okay, let's come back here. Okay, so White House. I'm looking at the White House. There's pumpkins. There's hold on. I see Biden. You know what? I'm feeling like he's telling us, and we're making the best of a bad situation. That's not good. I mean, sometimes I think I should just. Anyway, I feel he's resolute. You know how he gets resolute? Do you know what I mean? Like when he gets that squinty eyes and he's looking at the camera and he's like, "Arr!" That's what I feel like. I feel like he's, now what is this in regards to? Oh, Thanksgiving is after the election. That's after the midterms. But I don't think it's the midterms. Gosh, there's something going on. There's something going on, Becca. I don't know what it is yet. There's something going on that in that part of the year in America. Okay. I think it does have to do with potentially some voting. They're calling it, again, voting irregularities. They're attacking, the Republicans are attacking Biden. They're attacking the Democrats. They're trying to cause disruption. They're trying to cause disruption, and Biden is like, look here, Sonny, because I do think that I think that we could win the House. We will keep the House. We'll add some seats to the House. I think we very well could win 2 seats in the Senate. So, of course, that's going to cause the Republicans to lose their minds. So I think that's what I see going on there. Thank you for your question, Becca. I appreciate it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on. This is just what they directed me to, okay? Stone Marble says, will the 8 Republicans who voted against ending normal trade relations with Russia face any backlash or consequences for what they are doing? Absolutely. This is the thing. This dovetails in what they were saying. They're telling me about supporting senators or House members or countries or leaders that stand against Russia and stand for human lives over money and profit and power. Okay, so what they're showing me is this war thing has been going on for I think 3 weeks, and we're watching it in bits, right? We see a building, we see a this, we see a that. After this is over, we're going to see it as a whole. We're going to see a video of the whole thing start to finish. And that is when, and they're giving me chills, and that is when, big chills, that is when the world is going to say, holy F. What have we allowed? What has happened as we watched? Horrified. I know we're horrified now, but we're not really. There's still a lot of people that are like, whatever, it doesn't involve me, it doesn't impact me, whatever. But when this is over and we can see this sort of bigger picture, that is going to change people's opinions and minds and hearts. And those people, those 8 Republicans who voted against humanity, are going to pay a price. They're going to pay a price. Plus they're telling me those eight Republicans are more than likely, the reason that they voted against it is because Putin has them on a leash, and their names are going to come up anyway in the list of people that will be shown to have taken money from Russia. Okay. Thank you for your question. Linnea Hood, thank you for your question, dear. She says, what in the world is taking so long for Matt Gaetz to get his rewards, his just rewards? Well, that guy that was the tax collector guy that was Matt Gaetz's good friend in Florida, have you noticed that his trial date keeps getting pushed back? And I think this is the 3rd time it's been delayed. And that guy is a wealth of information. Let's put it that way. So what is happening is they're showing me this guy who's flipped. I don't know his name, but he's flipped. He is saying, well, here's some information. But of course, they need to go and reconcile that information to make sure that it's true. They need to, again, they're showing me these Republicans will slither out of any crevice. if you leave a little crack, they'll sliver right through that. So you can't leave a crack. It has to be watertight. And so I understand what is happening is that they are making sure that every single thing is watertight. Now, I will also say that there are just some loopholes. There are just some loopholes in the laws, and Matt Gaetz is trying to get through those. And they right. So they not to take so long on Matt Gaetz, but the prosecutors put together their best case, and when they ran it past, I want to say some sort of retired judge as a trial, like I think they do these mock trials to see what their odds are of winning, and it didn't fly. So they had to go back, and they're having to get Matt Gaetz on some other technicality, it's going to make all of us mad. I think this is why I'm talking about this. It's going to make us all mad that he's going to get away with some of the most egregious crimes, but it's just not, it's not prosecutable in the way that it should be. And it's just loopholes. So they're going to get him on these other minor things, which will turn out to be pretty good. I mean, he's going down. It's just that they need to find whatever it is. I mean, they'll gladly take whatever it is to take him down. That's what's happening. So thank you again for your question. Joanne Hall says she wants to know if the Hunter Biden laptop story is back in the news again. Is there anything to it? No, there's nothing to it. It's just a ruse. It's a red herring. It's oh, look, squirrel. And then they steal your purse. That's all that is. They're desperate. They're desperate to get a diversion at this time. Thank you for your question. Emmy says, what does Anonymous plan to do to MTG? So if you don't know, Anonymous has announced that they are going to be targeting Marjorie Taylor Greene. Immediately I'm seeing, oh, it's so frustrating sometimes. It's so frustrating. I mean, I just saw her getting out of things. That's why I'm frustrated. Okay. So they can tarnish her reputation. I mean, the thing about these Republicans that we all know is you can prove that they're horrible people. You can prove it and nobody cares. The Republicans do not care if their spouse is, one of their, is it MTG or Boebert? Her husband exposed himself in a bowling alley. I mean, what kind of man is that? And she she also has drunk driving convictions or something. So, that in any other time in our history, that person would have had some self-respect and would have stepped down. But honestly, the Republicans have no self-respect. There is no floor. There is no bottom. They'll go as low as they want because their people, their voters, have been brainwashed and they don't care. They don't believe it. They simply don't believe it. And, Trump started it all off saying he could shoot somebody, and no one would ever. It's freaking true, right? Again, I told you I was going to get in trouble on this video. I'm over here like YouTube, like the light is going red, beep, 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 so for entertainment purposes only. Okay. They're going to, I think the question is anything that Anonymous is going to do, is it going to be good enough for criminal prosecution? That's all I care about. Look, again, you can sully her, you can drag her through the mud. It doesn't matter. The woman breathes under mud. This is her environment. So, will anything that Anonymous uncovers and publishes be picked up by authorities and be used to investigate her? Yes. Okay. Thank you. I don't know if you guys got that, but they just said, yes, Anonymous will uncover something that will become public that will then be picked up by authorities. And yes, that will lead to her being, they just said arrested. Okay. That wasn't me. That was them. detained, arrested. Doesn't mean she's going to jail. We all are innocent until proven guilty. But it does mean that she might be taken in for questioning. I think it's around Jan 6. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Emmy, for that question. That's some good news. Where's my cannon? I'm going to shoot that cannon off, you guys. They've been showing me lately. Cannon and donuts and cheese. This is what's, just being able to shoot that cannon off when one of those people gets arrested and goes to jail. Okay, Jennifer Portes, anyway, says, will Ukraine and other non-NATO countries join and form their own NATO alliance? What a great question. Will Ukraine and other non-NATO countries join and form their own NATO alliance? That is a brilliant question. Because I think, isn't there already some sort of an alliance? I don't think it's like NATO, but I think there's some sort of alliance. But you're saying a NATO alliance, which is all for one, one for all, right? I mean, literally military protection. Do they have to form? No, I mean, you know what? Zelensky wants to join NATO. He doesn't want, although he's, look, I get it. If I were in his shoes, I would be mad as well. And I would not be a fan of, I mean, he's disappointed. He's disappointed in the no-fly zone. He's disappointed in the West. And that's going to carry forward. He's going to carry that with him. He's going to be quite, his goal is to take Ukraine into the 21st century and beyond. I mean, his goal is to make Ukraine a real power without being like a Putin, but like a real economic power. He wants respect. He wants Ukraine. I just feel like he's going like this, respect. He wants respect. But I think he understands that, yes, Zelensky wants to be, he's a joiner. He wants to be in the power structure. He's already been outside of the power structure. He knows what that's like. And building a new NATO alliance, I don't think is going to be helpful. Right now, I think he wants to join in NATO and in the EU and be a part of Europe. But that's a really good question. There seems to be some energy around it. That's why I keep staring at it. There seems to be some energy around that. Maybe that will be a threat. Maybe that'll be a threat. And then NATO will open their arms. I don't know. I do see NATO growing. I see NATO expanding. I see at least 3 countries coming into NATO in the next couple of years. Thank you for your question. Okay, Traveler, Explorer, and Adventurer. No, Traveler, Explorer, Adventurer. Great name. Says, what will happen to the USA companies, the smaller entrepreneurial ones, running real estate development companies in St. Petersburg, Florida? So this is a sort of a political question in the sense, St. Petersburg, Russia, not Florida. That's an interesting psychic Freudian slip. What will happen to USA companies? It's over, dude. If you guys have, yeah, right. This is another one of those questions of people over lives, people's lives over money. It's over. You're not going to get your money and you're not going to get your investment. Putin is going to claim your whatever your business is. It's already like when I go over there, it's already like a mob rule. Like they charge you. It's not taxes because they go up and down. It's like, for instance, it's like they just show up and say, you're doing pretty good, huh? Yeah, I like this. You owe me, 50,000 rubles. It's just like the mob. And the mob would come in and say, yeah, you're doing good business here. You're going to pay us more money. That's how I see it. So it doesn't look good for people that have businesses there. The thing that I'm worried about is I think there's certain states that have invested their retirement money in Russia. Now that's going to be a problem because you're not getting that money out either. It's terrible. It's really terrible. I mean, you're not getting, that money's gone, guys. Michelle Trunka says, will Governor Walz of Minnesota get reelected? And then she also wants to know, will the Dems hold the Minnesota House? And will they take the Minnesota Senate? Minnesota all the way. Did I have my cheese? Where's my cheese? Aren't they cheese? Aren't they in Minnesota? No, it's Wisconsin. My bad. I'm so sorry. Is Minnesota the mitt? Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's a lot of questions, Jared. Let's see. Governor Walz of Minnesota, is he going to get reelected? Don't shoot the messenger. Right now, in March, still very, very early, and we all have free will, and God knows when one big thing happens over here, it has a domino effect. Right now, it looks not good for Governor Walz. It does not look good. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could. I mean, I could just get up here and tell you what you want to hear, but I have to tell you what the guides tell me because we have an agreement. She wants to know, will the Dems hold the Minnesota House? I'm getting more of a yes for that. Yes, I'm getting a pretty good yes for that. Will they take the Senate? And I'm getting a little bit more of a no for that. If I were you, I hope this spurs you to do more, right? To write more, to donate, fundraise. I know we can't change the minds of these Trumpers, but there's a whole lot of people that are just not engaged, that all of this turns them off. It just turns them off. It makes them sick. It makes them tired. It makes them stressed out. And they've been dealing with COVID, and they've been dealing with their families and their jobs and the rising prices, and they're just turned off. And they're starting to feel like politicians don't do anything. So all of us, if you even just go to Office Depot and print out, 75 flyers and just put them up in your neighborhood, you know what I mean? Stating what the Democrats have done. Put links, where they can write it down and find and do their research. But look, propaganda is propaganda. Let's do propaganda, but let's make it factual. But let's freaking propagandaize to death. We are the ones you've been waiting for. So I hope you'll take this as a way to know that you're behind the odds here and you need to work harder. And everybody, we all need to work harder. Nothing is given. There's no given here. Okay, thank you for your question and Godspeed to Minnesota. Joanna Howard, thank you for your question. Aloha. We could all be in Hawaii right now. But anyway, we're not. Okay. But Joanna's in Hawaii, or else she's very Hawaiian attitude. Maybe she's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I don't know. Anyway, is Tulsi G a Russian asset? Wow, interesting, right? How these people have these personality changes. You know what I mean? Like Trojan horse, once again. It's like they pretend to be one thing, and then when they get into a certain place, they change their tune. Yes, Tulsi is obviously being, what's the word you used? Groomed as a Russian asset. I mean, let's define asset. It used to be that it was a spy, and now it's just a helper, just somebody in the United States that's going to help them out. And look, she's got a platform, news cameras, often hear, want to see what she has to say. She has a platform and she's using it to support Russia. Absolutely. Yellow Dog Quilts, that's so cool, says, will an adjoining country to Ukraine get hit? Yes, the guides have been saying this. And I have been saying Poland for quite a while. The guides have been saying Poland is going to get hit or involved. And what's interesting is Poland is the only country, they're telling me, now I don't know, this is what they're saying, but of all the NATO countries, Poland, and it could be because Poland is so close, but Poland is itchy. You know what I mean? They're itchy. They're like, yeah, come on over here. We'll show you something. They're much more, in my opinion, what they're showing me is they're a bit more combative towards Russia. Everybody else is like, yeah. Here's some, take these, bulletproof vest and go over there and don't look at us. You know what I mean? Like, we want to support Ukraine, but we don't want to do it in a bold fashion. I feel like Poland is doing it in a bold fashion. Like they're taking a stance, which is interesting because, they're connected to NATO. And if they go in, we're all in with them. So that's an interesting thing, right? If you think about it, that one country could taunt another country, and I don't really think it's taunting, but that's the word they used. And based on what that one country said or did, they may get attacked, and that might bring all of NATO together in on this deal. But I also wanted to say that there's something going on again with Lukashenko and with Belarus, because I feel like, I can talk already. Russia has already sent a missile to Belarus, and they blamed it on Ukraine. But everybody knows where it came from. So it was just, Russia's trying to do this thing and blame it on Ukraine. But I feel like, and this is newsworthy, I feel like Russia is going to intentionally send missiles to Belarus. This is to, wake up, Belarus people. Your real master is over here, where these missiles just came from. You guys want to try me? And there's more. This is the message I'm getting. So again, Lukashenko is a puppet. He's a powerless puppet. And the people know it, and the people are getting ready to do something about that. Putin is going to be putting them down. So how that's going to look, that's how the Gaetz are saying, but how that might present itself in our reality here is, again, Russia sending oopsie bombs over to Belarus, blaming it on Ukraine. Remember, Russia, much like the Republicans, how many times have you heard Putin say some double-speak thing that has, for instance, there's Nazis in Ukraine, and thought, that sounds just like the Republicans. Just because they say it's true, they expect everybody to believe it's true. It's the same thing that Putin does, right? So Putin doesn't care. He's going to do what he does, and he's going to say whatever he wants, and he doesn't care if there's facts involved that prove otherwise. Okay. Pearl Girl says, will the Democrats keep the House? Thank you for your question, Pearl Girl. And yes, I think the Democrats are going to keep the House. I think that we need to work like bandits. We need to work like those gerbils on the hamster wheel. Because again, they're saying nothing is given. I can't tell you 100%. But if everything keeps going the way it's going, and we keep doing what we're doing, yes. Hello Cat says, does Putin have Russian contractor mercenaries, Eric Prince style, doing damage in Ukraine? Yes, he sure does. Absolutely does. He does. He has private mercenaries. You know what? I saw a video with one. Oh, right. Thank you for reminding me. They show me these things. I don't even ask. But anyway, there's this video of this Russian guy, and he's a soldier. Okay. But the Ukrainian soldiers that captured him know he's not a soldier. You want to know why? Dude's got like a 14-karat gold chain. He went to war with a big old 14-karat gold chain on his neck. Okay, come on. The Russian soldiers are thin. They're dehydrated. They're untrained. They're hungry. That's one thing. This guy was like decked out like a rich dude under his uniform. Anyway, so yes, they are for sure hiring mercenaries. You bet, absolutely. What else were they talking about? They wanted me to talk to you about something else when I was talking about that. They'll bring it back. Okay. Okay, so KR, and thank you for that question, dear. KR says, what will the relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela be by the end of Biden's first term? Same question for Cuba. So you guys y'all brought it. These questions, y'all brought it with these questions. Good Lord. Okay. What will the relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela be by the end of Biden's first term? I'm sensing changes. Oh, opening. I'm sensing an opening Oh, that's interesting. I mean, they're not saying that this is all due to Biden per se, or Biden specifically. It's Biden's administration. But there's an opening there. There seems to be some sort of opening, trade opening, more back and forth. I think that's more trade, more normalcy, more friendly, that kind of thing. Now for Cuba, she asked the same question for Cuba. What an interesting question. Guides, y'all need to bring it too. What will the relationship be between the U.S. and Cuba at the end of Biden's first term? Not good. I heard not good. Yeah. I think Biden wants a better... I mean, I don't think Biden's opposed. I mean, Biden's got so much on his plate. He's like, Cuba, who? You know what I mean? He's got so much on his plate. But I don't see it being great at the moment. Something must be going on there that's not sort of a crackdown. I feel like there's a crackdown. So right. So they reminded me what they had said earlier was that there's going to be this sort of Arab Spring thing across the globe. And these countries that are authoritarian it's like wildfire. I mean, you know how the authoritarian seems to be growing. Well, the people are now bristling. I don't know. Maybe there's an astrological reason for this. You know, I don't know. But the people are bristling like they want freedom. They want to get the monkey off their back. They want to get out of the chains. So I feel like this starts happening. And they're showing me lighting up, like Cuba, and I mentioned Saudi Arabia, and, Russia, and Belarus, and Hungary, and just all these places. People are starting to say, we want more rights. And unfortunately, what that brings is, a lockdown, right? That brings a lockdown. And in Cuba, I don't feel like they get very far. Okay, that the people don't get very far. Not the president of Cuba. The people continue to be locked down. Whoo! I just saw Puerto Rico. I guess Puerto Rico is going to be wanting some more rights. Interesting. Okay, well that's quite interesting. Okay, Carol C. Says, where is Keir? Keir, I think. I don't know. Simmons. And is he okay? He's MSNBC international reporter. He was last seen reporting from Moscow just as Russia was making it illegal for anyone to say the Ukraine war was a war. His last Twitter entry was March 3rd. Did he make it out of Russia? Did he make it out of Russia? Is the news keeping it quiet for negotiation's sake? All I can do is tell you what I'm getting. He's in a safe house. Meaning he's hiding out. He's in a safe house. He's laying low. It hasn't been where he's at. He moved. He moved from where he was at the tweet. He moved out of wherever that location was. He had to move out of that. It was too much attention, scrutiny in that area. He needed to move out. Oh, he's crazy. I think he's continuing to send information. He's trying to send information out of Russia. You said British, right? Yeah. He's working. I just heard MI6. Isn't MI6 the British Secret Service? I think he's sending information to Great Britain. That's a for real hero right there. But he's not caught yet. But he is playing a role. I mean, people say, why do you say this stuff? Well, I mean, I didn't tell anybody where he's at. And I think if I were to say something that would harm anybody, Spirit wouldn't tell me. Spirit wouldn't give me information that was really going to put someone at risk, including me. I mean, sometimes they tell me, don't say that. And I sometimes listen to them. But anyway, yes, I think he's going to make it out okay. I'm looking. Because it's hairy. When he gets out of where he's at, it's hairy. He's doing some... He's with sympathizers. He's with sympathizers, meaning anti-Putin people. I think he's going to make it out. But the problem is that when I move his energy to, where he's at now is okay. But when I move his energy to getting out of Russia, that's when it gets hairy. That's when I have worry about. That's when I worry about him. As long as he stays where he's at, he's pretty safe. But and that's why he's stuck there. That's why he's gone dark. Because if he moves, that's where he gets very exposed. And maybe, and I don't know what the heck MI6 is. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there. But right now he's okay. Sorry about that loud noise. Okay, so Lisa H says, on the news they're reporting that Russian troops are rounding up Ukrainians from Mariupol. I know Mariupol. I know I can't say these things. And taking them to camps in Russia. Is this true? And why would they do that? And yes, it's true. That saddens me. It really saddens me. But I got to stay connected to spirit. So, it's insurance. I'm hearing it's insurance, right? They have something to barter. Of course, Putin is going to say he's doing it for their own good. The thing that really scares me is that he didn't just take them over the border. He's taking them and he's dispersing them. He's dispersing them throughout the country. It's like when, I don't know what they're talking about. Some dictators would remove people and put them in hard labor for re-education. I swear to God, that's what he's doing. That is scary. I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. These people might not be found for years. I'm trying to say months. I'm trying. I really am. And they're saying years. I can't even go there. I can't go there. Okay. Listen, all I can say about that would be something good is that they're alive. They're going to make it out. They're going to be reunited with their family or friends or country at some point. I believe that, other than people dying of I want to say natural causes, but I mean, if you have a heart attack because you've been in a war zone and drugged to another country and put in a town you don't know anybody and been forced to toil, then that's not really natural causes, is it? So anyway, but people may die, of heart attacks or things like that, but I don't see any of them being killed. I just think that they will eventually be reconnected with their country. And I will also say that just now Zelensky came to me and said he knows this. Look, Zelensky's got intelligence like you wouldn't believe. Well, because the United States and all these other countries have intelligence, and there are sympathizers in Russia that are agitating for Russia's freedom. And these people will, Zelensky is telling me, he will not ever stop looking for those people. He will never stop advocating for them. Okay, so he is their champion, and he will never, ever, ever stop. Okay, so that made me feel better. And you know how he gets. Zelensky can be pretty hard when you push him. It's like Biden, easygoing guy, nice guy. Push him, might get a black eye. Okay, Lori Suri, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. Serine, I'm sorry, dear. She wants to know, will Mark Cuban run for president at any point? Yes, I think he will. He thinks, and they're telling me right now that he's said he would run for president, or I don't know. But anyway, that's what they're telling me. But yes, I do see him trying to run for president. I see him running for president. I just said I see him running for president. I don't see him as president. He's too cocky to be a VP. You know, he wouldn't take that role. I think it might be offered to him at some point in the next 10 years or 12 years but interesting. Yeah. All right. ESL says, what will the relations be like between Ukraine and the U.S. after the war's over? Which I think is a really good question. Right after this, I mean, here's Zelensky begging for help and then getting the help. But the one thing he really wants is the world to back him up. The one thing he really wants is a no-fly zone. And a no-fly zone basically means World War III. I mean, let's just face it. That's what it means. Because if we create a no-fly zone, we're going to have to be in conflict with Russian planes. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So to do that is World War III, and he's not in. Zelensky, Ukraine is not in NATO, and so blah, 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 blah. We're doing everything we can without crossing that line in the sand. I find this question very interesting because I've thought of it too, and I think the guides alluded to it earlier when they talked about Zelensky and how he was going to be after the war. You know, like what is his personality, or what are his thoughts? What is his goals? You know, he's I don't know how to describe it. He's a bit cold. He's a bit cold towards us. He knows he needs us, but he hates that. He hates the fact that he needs us. And so his goal is going to be get as independent as he can, become a NATO member, become an EU member. He wants to have an equal seat at the table. He doesn't want to have to beg people for things. So I think he respects America. I think he appreciates what America's done for him. I think he appreciates what Biden has done for him. I think he has I think he feels warmly towards America, but deep inside, he's still going to be PO'd. And I get it. Melissa Carpenter says, when will we finally elect a female U.S. president? So, you know, this is interesting, Melissa, because when Biden announced his pick for VP, I wasn't very familiar with Kamala Harris. And I saw her on TV for the very first time after she was his pick for the VP. And as I was watching her, my guide said president. They literally said president. That's it, one word. And I don't think she's going to be elected. I think that she's going to finish one of Biden's terms. I don't think Biden gets offed. I have to be careful how I talk, but I think that he steps down for some sort of health issue. And again, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it like it is. I mean, Democrats have respect. We have respect for the office. We have respect for the American people. And if we don't think we can carry out a job or something, we're going to step down. And not all Democrats, obviously, are like this, but I think at least 98% of us are. And I hope that it stays like that. I hope we carry our dignity with us. So I feel like Kamala might be the first U.S. woman president and the first U.S. black woman president, but I don't think she's going to be elected. As far as having an actual elected president in the United States, that's a woman of any nationality and any color. I don't mean nationality. Of course, she's going to be American. I mean culture, race, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that says a lot, because that says that if she finishes his term this time and she won't get reelected. If she takes over his term in this term, will she be elected to the next term? I don't know. I don't think she'll be elected. That's interesting. I didn't ask that question ever before. Okay, so anyway, I'm sorry. I hope this didn't muddy up all of the question. The question was elect. I'm going to just stick with elect a female president. I'm hearing 8 years, 10 years. Not soon. I definitely see potentially another vice president. Shandar D says, will Judge Jackson be confirmed to the U.S. Supreme Court? Oh, this is such a hard one because it, as recently as yesterday, I was getting no. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Do not shoot the messenger. Please don't shoot the messenger. I literally was getting no. And then today the energy started shifting. So I think something is going on. I think that there's obviously these nomination hearings, they're telling me, are for the public. They don't change anybody's mind. Everybody's mind is already made up before the nomination hearing happens. Very rarely does somebody switch sides after the nomination hearing. And that's mainly due to public sentiment. So again, public sentiment. Right. Encourage. Even your Republican leaders, encourage them to nominate her, to support her nomination. You guys, we can't just throw in the towel because we have Republican leaders. I am so far behind enemy lines in Texas, that when I visit Democratic states, they think I'm a Republican, so we still have to hold them to account. They still care, even if they are Republicans. We can still influence them. So we have to. So I think that, let me ask again. I actually think McConnell is behind her, but it's because, there's so many dark backroom deals going on. Dark. So McConnell's made some backroom deals that if he can produce votes for her, he'll get, it's like when you do a plea deal with the cops or whatever. You basically say, I'm going to help you and I want less charges, right? I mean, that's what's happening to McConnell. He's saying, I'm going to produce some votes for you, but you have to take it easy on this, and this. Literally, I'm not kidding you guys. Politics is just ugly. It's just ugly. So yes, I think that it'll be interesting to see if McConnell comes out in favor of her, because I heard him say, you will vote for her if you know what's good for you. Like a parent says, you'll do this if you know what's good for you. It's a threat. There's an implied threat there. Like if you don't do it, something bad's going to happen to you. And this is what I hear McConnell saying, you'll do it if you know what's good for you. That's what I hear him saying to someone. Threatening them. That means that somebody's made a deal with McConnell. Now, I'm not saying she's not worthy of being on the Supreme Court. She's the most worthy candidate we've had. Compared to Kavanaugh and Coney Barrett and, come on. She's incredibly worthy, but it has nothing to do with anything because it's all politics. So hopefully that makes sense. I do think she'll get nominated. There's something, I'm going to tell you guys, there's something. When I take her and I move her to the bench in the Supreme Court, I'm having a hard time doing that. Like, I need to be able to see her sitting there, with the Supreme Court. Can I see her sitting there with the Supreme Court? She's got this beautiful smile. Something's going to happen. I'm not saying she's not going to make it, but I'm going to tell you, between the nomination and sitting on the Supreme Court, there's something that happens. In other words, it's not smooth sailing. Again, I'm starting to get mad again. Okay. So this is kind of a follow-up on the other question about Venezuela. Luz Eshivari, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name all kind of wrong. She's from Colombia, and she'd like to know if the Maduro's regime in Venezuela will end anytime soon. Well, I think that's possible because I just read that Venezuela has this opening towards the United States. I see that actually Maduro's softening himself, his stance softening. He's becoming less rigid. So I'm not sure that he'll leave, but I think that he'll be less rigid. He'll soften. Y'all, this thing in Ukraine is affecting countries in ways that we cannot even imagine. We can't imagine what's going to happen. Some countries like Cuba are going to crack down, and some countries like Venezuela might open up, right? Because if you see that you're not going to be treated very well, or the world is going to shun you, if you notice that the entire world is going to link arms against you because of your human rights abuses, then that's going to make you do one or the other. You're either going to shut down the Iron Curtain, we don't need the world, or you're going to say, oh, my bad, I didn't mean to kill all those people. Let me be friends, right? So I feel like he's in the latter group. And I think this is the last question. Thank you so much for your questions, you guys. And I don't even know if I can do this. I think I'm going to talk about... this question is super, super, super long. That's why I put it as the last one. And it's very complicated. It's like I need to even really ask the guides. Okay, let me just see if I can do anything here. This is from... I'm so sorry it didn't copy your name on top of that. I'm so sorry. Okay. Is it possible that Putin was set up to attack at a time when he would be weakest? So was he set up? That's a really good... The question goes on for many more sentences, but that's a really good thing. In the news this morning, there was a thing about a leak report that one of Putin's FSB, which is like the Secret Service, his own people, the military are over here, his people are over here. We already know what he's done to the military. He keeps sending the generals off in the front lines with ill-prepared troops, and the generals' encryption goes bad. Oops, your encryption's not working anymore. All of a sudden, the whole world can see you on your cell phone. And guess what? Ukraine, boom, targets him and kills him. I think like 5 generals. So clearly Putin is like, I don't like you. Go to the front lines. And then they get killed, So there is that thing going on. But there's a leak in the news about this FSB guy who's Putin's right-hand man, supposedly going to overthrow him. It's been leaked that he has plans to overthrow Putin. Now, so when you said, is it possible that Putin was set up to make this attack? This is what they're saying about this leak. Paranoia is a real destabilizer in a military regime like this. So people can say that it's leaked and it'll get around to him, but it's all fabricated. The dude never said that. He never, but it says it's leaked. So now Putin is going to start turning against his own people. So yes, we do use, propaganda. Other countries do leak things to make their leaders feel like they are real, like this leak is real, and they're really going to be overthrown by this guy, and then that makes the leader kill or demobilize or whatever, however you want to say it, send them to Siberia, that person. And in this way, you can trick them into cannibalizing their own people, meaning, taking out their own people. Her question is that I'm again reading the question, but I feel like the guides keep telling me other things instead of her question, and it might be partially connected. But she's talking about that she heard from a very well-informed source that Ukraine has given permission to use javelins in Donbass back in November, which lit the fuse for this war. So, for instance, okay, so they're saying, without me reading the rest of the question, they're saying that was a provocation. They're calling it a provocation. That was a provocation that Ukraine did that could have added a little bit more spark. But Putin was going to do this. He thought Trump was going to be the president, and he thought that he could just do it without the war. I mean, I don't think Putin ever thought there was going to be a war, obviously. He thought he was going to walk in and do regime change and just take over and set up shop. He had no idea that the West was going to help Ukraine. He had no idea that the Zelensky, had cojones as big as, Goliath. And he had no idea that any of this was going to happen. This is all news to him. He believed his own press, as they say to actors, right? He believed all of these things that these yes men that he surrounded himself with, he believed it. And in all actuality, these yes men, these oligarchs and the generals were taking all the budget and spending very little on the thing the budget was for, skimming off all that money and buying themselves yachts and whatnot. And that's what that video was about that I shared on my community page, where Putin was saying, all of you people that are in Russia, you're Russian in name only. You support the West. You spend your money in the West, but you're Russians. And because you're not really acting like a Russian, I'm going to spit you out like a fly, like a gnat. So he's already called them to task. So her question is, was this all a setup to get this going? Now, the dark part of this is that the guides have been saying that there's a lot of money to be made here, right? In the very beginning, they said this, and I haven't really said this publicly because the stuff just gets so dark, right? And it's for entertainment purposes only. But you have to understand that there's a lot of money to be made here in the defense industry. Do you know that some of these, they just called them Eastern Bloc countries, and I don't know why. But anyway, some of these countries that have these old Soviet style munitions, arms, are giving those munitions and arms to Ukraine. Now, for one reason, Ukraine knows how to use them. They're not going to have to be trained. They literally know how to use them. But these countries that are giving those old Soviet style missiles and whatever are getting brand new shiny ones delivered by the U.S. Now, who's paying for that? The U.S. is. And who's getting them? These countries. So who's making the money? The defense. Think about it. All these countries that have old, outdated equipment are going to Ukraine, where it's all going to be destroyed. So not only does the country get new shiny equipment from the defense contractors, but so does Ukraine. When this is all over, they're going to get new shiny things from the defense contractors. So I don't think I have stocks in defense contractors, or at least I try not to. But again, money over lives. If you were to right now get off of this video and invest in some defense contractors, you would probably make a lot of money in the next 18 months, right? Again, humans have to make decisions. I think that's I think he was tricked into the war, but not really, because he has such a huge ego, and his ego is huge. And he's always wanted Ukraine. He wants the USSR back. He wants all of those, they're calling them satellite countries now. That's what the guides are saying. He wants them all back, And so was he tricked? Yes and no. So anyway, wow, an hour and 14 minutes, not too bad. I really appreciate you watching. If you have watched to the very end, you get a gold star and a donut. Do you like chocolate? It's really good. Anyway, thank you so much, so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments. You guys know I'm very active in the comments. If you have questions, I try to answer them. I really, really appreciate all of your support. Thank you for watching the last video on the grandmothers that I channeled, that the grandmothers are helping Ukraine and the world. It's absolutely was my honor to channel those grandmothers and that grandmother. It was one of the most powerful things I think that I've experienced yet doing this type of work. So it was my honor to do that. Again, so I have a Patreon membership group as well, but we talk about spirituality. Last night we just had a video, or yesterday, where you guys got your psychic questions answered. So it's a very active, lively group. If you're interested in joining my Patreon group that's more spiritual oriented, you can see the link down in this comments here. Of course, I offer readings and classes. You can also check out the links in the description for that as well. Take really good care of yourselves, everybody. It's difficult and it's going to get a bit darker. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to get a bit darker before it gets light. But the light is coming and the light is winning. We just need to take care of ourselves so that we can make it to see the light. Okay? Much love to all of you. We'll talk soon right here on this channel.